John, thank you so much for making time to join us this afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Northwest Arkansas, and looking forward to hearing about kind of your background and what it is that you all are doing at Shelf Level Retail. So take it away.
Gotcha. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the introduction, Matt. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick for you guys. All right, everybody can see this, hopefully. My name is John Walker, and thank you very much again for taking the time today. I'm going to make this, I know it's fast pitch, so I'm going to move as quick as possible. And like Matt said, at the end, I'll be happy to answer any questions or happy to jump offline with anyone to elaborate on anything that I cover. So I'm going to move quickly here, but again, please write down your questions. To introduce myself, I'm the CEO of Shelf Level Retail Solutions. I've been involved in the retail industry my whole life. I came to Bentonville in 2002. I was originally with a company called the Sunflower Group, and I was heavily involved in the in-store demonstration world, selling to manufacturers as well as retailers. And then I went over to a company called Driveline Retail Merchandising, was there for a couple of years and saw some flaws in the way, retail was executed. So branched off and started my own company. We're located over in Pinnacle, about 5 miles from Walmart corporate headquarters. What makes us unique is we utilize sales data to determine the best way for you to spend money on retail service. We don't want you to, you have data at your fingertips. So, there's a lot of stores who are doing things great. Let's focus on the stores who are having issues based on what we're seeing in the data is really what our approach is. As far as we have several different retail support vehicles. We have 2,500 merchandisers across the U.S. We can hit virtually any retail location in the U.S. It's a mixture of W-2 and independent contractors, really based on on what areas or regions that they're in. I do a lot of work for Lowe's. Being down here, obviously, I've done a lot of work at Walmart. We have a speed audit team, basically a crowdsourcing function where we can go in and we can take audits of products on shelf, typically with 24 hours lead time. We can have photos back that are GPS confirmed within 5 days. One of our newest offerings is digital sampling. Being from an in-store demonstration background, it's essentially a program where we allow people to go in store, purchase product, try it, complete a survey, and then go and leave a review on a retailers.com website. And then we also have a 30-seat retail call center where we make over 30,000 phone calls per month to retail stores, talking to department managers or associates about products. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, but always happy to talk about the other services, down the road offline. So in regards to the call center, really one of the most common uses for this is to attack zero sales. And one of the most common reasons for zero sales is really a couple different items. We have typically new item launches or modular updates. So, when a product is supposed to hit the floor, typically, the store has about 2 weeks to get that onto the floor to execute that. But what we find many times is that, you're going to have a group of stores who get it done, and then you've got a subset of stores who do not get that done. If they don't get your product during that modular change, sometimes it may never even get a home. So it's a common reason for a zero sale, or when you're supposed to be cut in, you're not cut in on time. Sometimes it could take 6 to 8 weeks, but obviously you're getting measured on sales right out of the gate. Phantom inventory is another common issue, and that basically occurs when the store's system inventory does not matching what they physically have in the store. This can obviously create issues because of auto replenishment. You do have product that is no longer coming into the store. You think you have product, but you don't. And as a result, you're not getting any sales. And then another issue, which is very, very common, is just day-to-day replenishment. Sometimes, they overlook your spot, your home, and they don't replenish the product. It's sitting in the back room. We just need somebody to get it from the back room to the shelf. So some of the problems that occur here, and then some of the solutions that people attempt. So as far as new product launches go, modular change, based on the calls that we've made over the past 15 years, what we found is that 60 to 70% of the stores complete the cut-in within 2 weeks of the MABD date. But you have this subset of stores who don't complete it in that time frame. And obviously, again, you're being measured on sales. You need to get those completed. At any given time after the initial cut-in, we've seen manufacturers who have zero sales in anywhere from 10 to 20% of their products. And it could be just a store having a gap in replenishing their items, or it could be, again, phantom inventory issues that are a result of that. Phantom inventory is also difficult to correct in the system because you can identify the issue with the department manager or coach, but they can input the correction into the system. However, if the store manager doesn't approve it, it does not go through. So that can become an issue getting that corrected. Another issue is it's expensive to send a merchandiser to a store to correct these issues. I've got a retail service team, and it's tough for me to sell against merchandising, but to send somebody into a store and not be certain if you're going to get results or not can be expensive. There's a lot of service companies who require 3 to 4 weeks of lead time. So the data is not fresh by the time, the reps reach the store. So that's a big issue. You have a problem today. How do you solve the issue today? And the thing is, the problems will not go away. Here's what typically happens with suppliers. Some just ignore it. They don't feel like they have the necessary budget to really do anything. So they do nothing. Some suppliers send a rep in, it can run anywhere from $25 to $30. And it could still result in a failed visit if the manager refuses, or if they're not the store when the rep visits. What we do is we use data to understand where the issues are. So we look at retail link information or other retailers' store level data, and then we deploy our call center specialists to have a discussion with the department manager. And the way that it works is that if you only pay for it is if we can get your item activated, as proved by a store level purchase. So, just a way to look at this is it's a very easy way to get started, an easy approach. What we do is, first off, isolate zero sales with current on-hand counts for an identified period of time. So many of my suppliers, they typically look for, if they've gone 4 to 6 weeks without a sale, that's typically an indicator that there's some kind of issue at store level. If you have a product that's typically a very, very fast mover, some of my clients, they look for stores where they've gone 2 weeks without a sale because their product moves so quickly. Some suppliers even extend that out where they try to get anything that's gone 10 weeks. So, but typically, if you've gone a few weeks without a sale at Walmart, there's some kind of issue with your product. So what the next step is basically to send that data over to us, just identifying the item numbers that are having an issue, the UPC, and then the store number, and then the current on-hand count for that store. What we'll do is we take that information and we'll put together a script, essentially what we're going to say to the store when we call, and we send that back over to you, and you guys can approve it. You can edit it, add questions in, however you want to do it. Once you approve that, then you give us the approval, then we can start calling. And this whole process takes less than 24 hours from the time that you contact us. We typically want to move quickly, just from the standpoint that when you pull that data, we want to be making that call so it's an educated call. So when I say, hey, we're showing 10 units on hand, typically they're pulling up the system and they're seeing, yeah, they've got 10 units on hand. Just to kind of let you know how a call goes, how does it go? I'll just give you an example. So if I was calling and say, hi, my name is John, I'm calling on behalf of ABC Foods. I'd like to see if you can possibly help me out today. I'm currently, we're experiencing some zero sales issues at the store on a few items, and I'd like to run those by you. Item number 1, 2, 3, 4 currently has 7 units on hand. However, we haven't seen any sales in the past 4 weeks. Is my product on the sales floor right now? Yes or no? They'll typically give you an answer. If they say yes, then we say, okay, well then why have we been experiencing zero sales? What do you think is attributing to this, is contributing to this issue? They could say, oh, it could be store location, maybe there's a competitor's item, maybe they just recently placed it, but they'll typically give us feedback and we can capture open-ended feedback. If they say that it's not on the floor, we ask them if they will place it on the sales floor for us. Most of the time they will say yes if they have inventory. And then we ask them if they can commit to when that's going to occur. Is that going to happen today, tomorrow, next week? But when can you get this done for us? And then we also ask them to compare inventory counts. If we're showing 7 on hand, can they do a quick count to make sure that those numbers match? If they do, it's great. If they don't, we ask if they would please submit adjustment in the system. That way it can go to the store manager to hopefully correct that phantom inventory issue. And then we capture their name. So you know who we spoke to. So the way that the billing goes is that, we do this on a pay for performance basis. So, the only way that we get paid is if we can get your unit activated in store. And by activation, meaning that we see at least one item sell within a 14-day time frame. So just run a quick breakdown of how it works. You identify the zero sales data. You give us a store list and we call the stores to attack them. And then we'll call then we'll have a discussion with the department manager. We'll ask them to correct it. And then capture any open-ended commentary. We'll give you a store-by-store report that'll show, store number one, we talked to Beth. Beth said that the product is not on the sales floor, but she would commit to have it out on the floor within the next week. So you'll get all that information store by store. And then at which point, once you get the final report, then we wait 14 days. Then you guys pull the data down from Retail Link, and it's 14 days from the date that we connected with that manager. If there was at least one sale, then you're billed for the call. If there was no sale within that time frame, you're not billed for it. Typical pricing, we charge $13.50 if we were able to correct one SKU. We can call on multiple SKUs per store, up to 4 SKUs. After that, the managers will lose them. But the way that the pricing works there is $13.50 if one is corrected, $15.50 if 2 is, $17.50 if 3, $19.50 if 4 is. And again, if there's no SKUs corrected, you're not charged for that call. Just a quick case study. We did a program where there was some tumblers and they had been showing some zero sales. There was 1,422 stores with 1,696 items showing zero sales for 6 weeks. We made phone calls to the stores, asked them to correct. They pulled the data 14 days later, and there were 798 stores that had 1 item selling and 51 stores that had 2 of their items selling. So there was 63% of the stores were now showing sales within 14 days of us making those calls. Keep in mind again that there was no sales on these items for the previous 6 weeks. This resulted in $19,829 in POS sales over that 2-week time frame. When I compare this on an ROI basis, when you look at lost sales, they were averaging $18 per week per store. In 649 stores, they were selling at 5 weeks. It was $58,410 was what their total loss was looking at over that 6-week time frame. And the cost of the program was $8,802. Typically, you get 100% return on your investment with this program. Here's another program. This was a program where we had a client who they had 3,500 stores and 22 SKUs in the baby modular that were experiencing zero sales. A lot of it was due to the modular change. They felt like the stores were just not executing that fast enough. So they had us make calls to the stores to attack those. In the first month that we attacked them, we had a 56% conversion rate. There was over 16,000 store item combinations that were showing zero sales. So it was a big reduction in zero sales immediately just by making those calls. And then from that point, it became a monthly maintenance program where each month they were pulling zero sales and then we were attacking those. So it became a monthly algorithm, but at that point we started seeing declines in the overall zero sales. So that's how I work with a lot of clients where, once we, first off, out of the gate, when a product launches or there's a new mod, we let the store, work their magic and cut it in. Hopefully 60-70% of them get completed by the store. We then look at the sales data, see where the issues are, and then attack those to make sure that they're getting the modular set correctly, and then manage it on a monthly basis by exception, any stores that are showing zero sales. Typically, on average, when we're calling stores and asking them to correct zero sales, over a period of time, we're on average, we're seeing about 40 to 65% of the stores corrected. And most of the time, it's within 4 days of us making those calls to the stores. Here's a case study that really revolves around phantom inventory. We had a client who they felt that there was high theft on their item. And they felt that there was a very high number of phantom inventory issues that were contributing to their zero sales. So we called up the stores, engaged them, let them know that, hey, we're thinking this is the issue. Can we please confirm inventories? And then if there's an issue, please make adjustments. So there was 1,267 SKUs that were showing zero sales. Called them up. After we connected with 98% of the stores, 82% of the stores showed sales within 3 weeks of us making the calls. But really what the significant component is that there was 278 adjustments that occurred over a 4-week period. 203 of those adjustments occurred the first week after our calls. Who are our people? Retail call center specialists. Many of them have been calling with us, calling for over 10 years. All of our people are US based. Most of them are right here in Bentonville, Rogers. And most of them have retail experience. We sourced really our callers from our merchandiser base. So we want people who have worked in stores before, worked with department managers. They know what a modular is. They know how to talk to a department manager to get things done. So all of our people have experience. We do extensive ongoing training. We're constantly listening to them and coaching them as how to be most effective. We've made so many of these calls that we can train people to become very, very effective, through our history. Our software is awesome. It's a really cutting edge technology. It tracks every single call, it records all the calls. It gives us the ability to evaluate our reps and keep a running score tab on them. There's constantly quality assurance that's taking place. We can listen in on calls if they're having any issues. It also has an auto dialer, so it really keeps them focused on the call. All the data and information in the script is right there in front of them on the screen. It gives them specific store information. So if we're calling store number 5 and this has an on-hand count of 15, and we're calling for 3 particular items, that information is displayed. It can change out. We can call for 5 different items or 4 different items on the next store. So it is all store specific. Just an overall, focus on our team. Again, 30-seat call center. We're very experienced talking to department managers and store managers. We are really a direct line of communication to the stores. We make over 30,000 calls every single month. We can launch within 24 hours lead time. You can figure out that you have an issue today. I can start attacking it tomorrow. Our speed dialer system can allow us to connect in 4,000 stores in over 3 to 4 days. That's typically what our running time is to do a full chain. And then we do pay for performance billing. So we don't have angry clients because you typically get what you pay for. And then there's lots of other uses for our call center as well. We use it for product training. If there's complex items, we've used it to call stores and really train reps and associates on the product itself, so they can talk to the customers about it. We do promotional alerts. So say that there's a new promotion coming down or a feature or a pallet that's shipping into a store, we can actually call them ahead of time, communicate with them, let them know it's coming, find out if there's going to be even any issues, placing it before it even hits the store, which you always get a handful of people saying, I'm not going to place your pallet for this reason or another, but you can get ahead of that. We do a lot of work with inside sales teams where we're calling, selling to department managers, trying to encourage department managers to go to their store manager to order off the store choice order guide. It's a little bit different function because it's a sales function, but we have people who specialize in that. And it's been a very successful program. Information gathering, it's just the same as an audit. We can call and we can get their feedback on how they feel about anything, or how maybe there's a permanent sidekick that's supposed to be on display and it's going back and checking to make sure it is. And they'll typically give you that information. Product recalls, we've made lots of calls to stores telling them to please pull this product as soon as possible. So we have the ability to make emergency calls. As well as on the, we can do inbound as well. We've done programs where we do dedicated support for stores or for customers as well. We've done helplines. So as far as where this program works, for it to be effective, we have to have store by store, day by day sales data for 0 sales. As time goes on, there's more and more retailers coming online that have this information available. We most commonly use this at Walmart. We're doing a lot more work at Target with it. We do a lot of work with it at Sam's Club. Walgreens, we're doing a lot of work there these days. So if you have access to that data, we can make that happen.
Thank you so much for making time to do this. John, if you would just share your contact information with us before we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I am happy to speak with anybody offline or, go into more depth with you or send this information over to you if you'd like more information. If you want to contact me, my email is jwalker at shelflevelretail.com. And my phone number is 479-877-0277.
So John, thank you so much for making the time for us. We'll talk to everyone again soon. Have a great weekend.